Hello, everybody. I am Lisa Sabaniak from lifelikeyoumeanit.com. And today, thanks to a group member of mine, Jade, I've got a wonderful topic to talk to you about, and that is how you stick to new boundaries. How do you respect or make other people respect boundaries that you have put in place? So I think we've probably all experienced this at some point, I would imagine, right? You know, the most common one I would think would be a relationship breakdown. So I know myself, there's been many times that I've had a relationship breakdown and I've tried really hard to stay friends with that particular person. And, you know, it's very difficult because you've already kind of set up the relationship, as it were, right? So you're used to always grabbing their hand or, you know, reaching out to touch their shoulder or, you know, whatever those little things that you would do, even if it's pet names that you would call each other, for example. And so it's natural when that relationship breaks down, and if you're trying to still be in a place of a friendship, that it would be awkward and difficult. And of course, you both know that you can't call each other by those pet names, and you can't reach out and touch each other's shoulder or, you know, hold hands or whatnot, but there's still that kind of instinct, and you just have to kind of, you know, time will heal all, and time in these kind of new boundaries will allow you to, you know, kind of let that take shape. So that's all normal. That's not really the type of boundaries that I think Jade was talking about, because, you know, sometimes maybe we're the ones that end the relationship if we're going to use this scenario still, and that person refuses to acknowledge and respect the boundaries. Or maybe it's a friendship. Maybe you were involved with a friend at a certain point in your life and you found that it was very, very give, and no take, right? That they were always the ones to be taking what you were giving, and they were never giving anything back in return. And so you found that it was a little bit too much expenditure on your part. And so maybe you left that for a little bit. And then when you tried to come back to it, you tried to set up the new boundary that, yes, of course, I'm still here for you as your friend. However, I also have needs as well, and I would like you to be here as my friend as well. So it doesn't have to be a relationship that we're talking about in those types of terms. It could be other types of relationships, right? Your family, your friends, your neighbors, it doesn't matter. You set up a boundary and you're having trouble with the implementation of that or the enforcing of that boundary. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, of course, you are welcome to put in the comments any question or comment that you have. I would love for you to partake in this conversation and make it a real discussion. Okay. I'd also love it if you would give me a thumbs up or hearts emoji or something along those lines as well if you're watching. Okay, so if we get into this, the first thing that I want to do, because of the work that I do in dealing with abuse victims and trauma-related victims, and kind of moving from a sense of victimization into survivorship and then into becoming a warrior, I tend to apply that in all situations, and this is no exception. My very first question that comes up with this is, what do you believe that you deserve? Do you believe that you deserve to have that healthy boundary that you are trying to set in place? If the answer is no, well then obviously then we need to do some more work on that, right? We need to look at where the belief is coming from, why you have that belief in particular, and can we change that? But if your answer to that is yes, I do believe that I deserve to be respected, that I deserve to have this boundary up in place so that this person can be in my life. Maybe it's the father of your children, you don't have any choice in the matter. Maybe it's a blood relative and you feel, again, that you don't have any choice in the matter. Maybe it's a next door neighbor and you're not in any position that you are going to be leaving, so you feel you don't have any choice in the matter. So the question of, do you really truly believe that you deserve to be treated with respect? And that respect comes in all different forms. If you have set a boundary up and somebody is ignoring that boundary, they are disrespecting you. So do you at the core believe that you deserve that disrespect, or do you believe that you do not deserve that and in fact you deserve to be respected? And that all comes down to what your belief of yourself is, right? Whether or not you have value in yourself, whether you believe that you are worthy, you are deserving of respect, whether or not you even love yourself. Oh, thank you for the light, Katie. Whether you believe that you really deserve to have those things is at the key to every decision that you will make in your life, every choice. And that includes the people that you allow to be in your personal space. The people that you choose to surround yourself with are all part of that kind of reflection of who you believe you truly are and what you believe that you truly deserve. So I'm going to go on what might seem like a little bit of a tangent here, but in my head, it makes complete and total sense. So what I mean by that is that we are all vibrating with a particular type of frequency of energy. And that's because we are made of particles, and particles all have energy. Everything that you can see around you is vibrating right now. You don't notice it because you are also vibrating, because you are also made of particles. You also have an innate energy to you. And that vibrancy, that level at which you are vibrating, the frequency, if you will, can change. But we are drawn to what feels natural and normal for us, right? It's like trying to change a new habit. It takes an incredible amount of time and it feels very uncomfortable. So I'll give you an example. If you just go ahead and clasp your hands, I don't have to instruct you on how to do that. You'll find your natural way of doing that. So that feels normal and natural. If you take your hands and just shift one of them off to the side and reclasp them so that to somebody walking by, you're just sitting there with your hands clasped, nothing different. But it actually feels tremendously awkward, doesn't it? It feels completely unnatural. You are doing everything you can to hold your hands like this, because I am, and you're trying not to go back to the original clasp. This does not feel right, but it doesn't mean that it's not right. It's just different. And that's what I'm talking about with energy frequency, right? You're vibrating at a certain level right now, and it's up to all the people around you to meet you at that level. And chances are, if you're dealing with an old relationship of some sort, they did match your level. That's why you were attracted to one another in the first place. That's why they want to be around you. And that's why they're having difficulty letting go. And that's why that they're having difficulty respecting your boundaries, because at some point you probably allowed them to show you disrespect in some sort of way, because that's the energy that you were vibrating at that time. Now you're growing, you're healing, you're changing. You're trying to find a new you. You're realizing that your old ways were not working for you, and you're trying to find what you truly do deserve. And in doing that, you've naturally, without even realized it, raised your vibration. You've raised the frequency at which you are vibrating, which is the equivalent of going from here to here, right? So the person that is around you that is trying so desperately to keep hold of you, one of the things they're trying to do is to bring you back down to that original energy vibration. Because in order for them to still be attracted to you, in order for them to still want to be around you, they have to feel that they equal you, right? Like attracts like. And so instead of them raising themselves to your level, they're trying to bring you back down because they don't understand. Right? They don't understand this whole concept of energy vibration. To them, they're just looking at you've changed and they want the old you back. Right? And if you've allowed them to treat you in a disrespectful way once, then in their mind, that's the way that they're allowed to treat you. And so, it comes down to understanding what you truly believe for yourself, what you deserve, the value and the worth that you have in yourself, the love that you have in yourself, and how you're willing to project that out to others. If you're willing to believe that to your core, to such a level that that is what you are going to project, that is what you will raise your energy out to be, then all of those in your surrounding that are not at that level have no reason to stay. They will no longer be attracted to you. You do not match. They have a choice. They leave or they raise their vibration to match you. And that to me explains all of the different experiences that we can have in life, where somebody can be so incredibly important to us in one moment, and then we completely lose touch with them in another moment. Right? Part of that can be with they've just taught us the lesson that they were here to teach, or we've taught them the lesson that we were here to teach them. And now that is done. They'll always have that special place in our heart, but we don't need them in the same capacity. On the other hand, it could also be this: we've shifted and they did not shift with us. And now like still attracts like, and we're no longer vibrating at the same frequency. So the challenge right now, as you are dealing with whoever this is that is not honoring your request for this boundary that you are trying to set, your job now is to not slip back into that old vibration. They're doing everything they can to claw onto you and pull you back down there because that's what they know. That's their comfort zone. And unfortunately, in the beginning, it's also your comfort zone. So that's the really difficult thing to really wrap our heads around, is that how could we possibly make a comfort zone for ourselves that is filled with despair or disrespect, or a place where we really believe that we don't deserve any better, where we don't love ourselves, where we don't respect ourselves, we don't have any value in ourselves, or at least less than where we're trying to be? How can that possibly be our comfort zone? And again, it goes back to this, right? As soon as we make that shift, every fiber in our being is trying to get us to go back to what was comfortable. And I challenge you to try this clasping hands little experiment, if you will, every day, every time that you think about it, until finally clasping your hands in this new way actually doesn't feel that bad, where you are not thinking of anything else other than, oh my God, I gotta go back, where you can actually just sit with your hands clasped in this new, different way and see how long that takes. You'll be surprised. It depends on how many times you do it. If you're doing it every time that I'm doing it during this live broadcast, then you're probably already starting to experience it doesn't feel so bad anymore. But if you only did it once a day, you're going to find that it takes an awful lot of time. And that's very reflective on the work that you're doing for yourself, right? If you are constantly trying to change your own thought patterns, right? Change your thoughts from something that's negative to something that's positive. Change all of those negative thoughts that you have about yourself to, I'm not good enough, I can't do this, everything always fails, everything I touch always, turns into disaster. Those kind of ingrained thoughts that we have, if every single time they come up, you say, hang on, wait a second, I honor the fact that I have that feeling, but I also honor the fact that that's not my truth. My truth is so much more than that. My truth is so much more powerful than that. And you replace it with what your truth really is, that you are strong, vibrant energy, that you deserve everything that you believe you deserve. And what you actually deserve is limitless, right? You are energy, which means there is nothing in your path to stop you. Only you. You're the only one that's there to stop you. And so while this might seem like a little bit of a tangent on this whole idea of sticking to boundaries and making sure that the people in your life are respecting those, it really is not far off. Because if they're having trouble letting go, if they're having trouble raising up to your new energy, then in part of you realizing what you deserve is you have to realize when it's time to let them go. And I realize that that is not always an easy thing to do. And sometimes it's not always actually able to do that because, again, maybe they're the father of your child and your child deserves to have that human in their life. And so that's understandable, but it doesn't mean that you can you need to allow them to still approach your space in the same sort of way, right? Maybe they're able to see your children, but there's somebody else there that greets them at the door, right? And it doesn't have to be forever. It just has to be a certain period of time until they get used to the new you, till they get used to the new energy, they get used to the new boundary that's in place, and they realize that the line that used to be here is now way up here. They either meet it or they lose you. And that's their choice to make. I hope that that makes sense. So I don't have any comments that are in here. I'd be more than willing to stick around for another couple of minutes and see if anybody has a question or a comment. But in the meantime, while we're waiting, let's do this again. So let's go from our original to our shift. And already for me, I don't know about you, but already for me, while I recognize that this isn't where I originally went to, I still went to my old pattern. Shifting it to this new pattern is suddenly not so scary. It doesn't feel so icky and awkward. It actually feels quite natural and normal. And I could very easily sit here for a longer period of time without making myself go back to that, and also without preventing myself from going back to that. But it does take time, it does take effort, and it does need a change in your own thoughts and beliefs about yourself at your core. I hope all of that made sense, and I hope that when you go in to set your boundaries for other relationships, that you can start with yourself. You can start with this idea of, I deserve to have better than what I currently have, and I deserve this boundary that is here. And if people cannot meet that need of mine, then there's the door, because I deserve to have people that match me in my energy frequency. If that is what I truly believe, then that is what I will find, right? If you believe in something, that is what you will see all around you. Right? So if you're believing that you don't deserve it, you will create that for yourself. If you believe you do deserve it, you will create that for yourself. So as always, everything always starts from within. Hope that made sense. You are welcome to leave me any comments or questions after the live recording, and I'll go back in and put in my 2 cents worth. Bless. Thank you for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.